Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders may be stuck in a bye week with an ugly 3-8 record, but the franchise is somehow generating more buzz off the field than they have on it all season. It's almost ironic that a team slogging through another rebuild is suddenly the center of attention. But that's what happens when a franchise quarterback is emerging. The roster is starving for playmakers, and one of the hottest wide receivers in the league seems to be steering himself directly toward D.C. The NFL is unpredictable, but the signs are pointing to one storyline that could explode this offseason. Jayden Daniels might finally get his wish, because the Commanders are shaping up to be the heavy favorites to land Brandon Aiyuk, the wideout who just so happens to be his best friend. And not only does it feel possible, it feels increasingly likely as the drama in San Francisco reaches a boiling point right now. The Commanders are on the outside looking in, watching the rest of the league play meaningful football while they evaluate draft scenarios for 2026. But while fans track every result that could swing their draft position, there's a whole other storyline brewing, one connected directly to Jayden Daniels and his potential future. As the face of the franchise, the roster needs help everywhere: offensive line, secondary, linebacker, you name it. But the biggest hole, the one screaming for attention, is a legitimate long-term number one receiver who can grow with Daniels, stretch defenses, and bring a spark to an offense that has been battered by injuries and inconsistency. And the timing couldn't be more perfect, because a star-level wide receiver is about to become available, with relationships already tying him straight to Washington. Brandon Aiyuk, the explosive and fiercely competitive wideout from the San Francisco 49ers, appears to be heading toward a very real breakup with the team that once viewed him as a franchise cornerstone. What once looked like a marriage built to last has slowly rotted from the inside out, and the whispers that started months ago have turned into a storm. 15 months after signing a massive 4-year, $120 million extension, Aiyuk's relationship with the 49ers is fractured beyond repair, and now everything points to one outcome. The Niners are likely to release him at the end of the season, setting him free to choose his next team. The timing, the relationships, the needs that all align suspiciously well for Washington. The issues between Aiyuk and San Francisco didn't pop up overnight. They've been growing quietly over the past year, while he rehabbed a severe knee injury that kept him sidelined much longer than expected. But the tension exploded publicly once his dramatic holdout began, and that single decision may have marked the point of no return. During the holdout, Aiyuk wasn't shy about his frustration. He posted clips with Jayden Daniels. He spent time on shows openly talking about possible trades to the Commanders or the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he made it clear that he was weighing his options based on where he wanted to be, not necessarily where San Francisco wanted him. What really escalated the situation was the recent revelation that the 49ers voided Aiyuk's 2026 contract guarantees more than $25 million for skipping team meetings and activities. Whether you believe Aiyuk's actions were justified or not, the message is clear: the relationship has deteriorated to a point that seems irreparable. What's even more telling is that Aiyuk specifically chose not to fight the voiding of those guarantees. That's not something players normally shrug off. We're talking about over $25 million left on the table. Guaranteed money that most players would battle tooth and nail to keep, but Aiyuk didn't. He walked away from it with barely a reaction. And when a player willingly allows a team to erase that kind of security, it paints a very clear picture. He isn't focused on the money anymore, he's focused on freedom. He wants out. He wants a fresh start. And that alone throws gasoline on the speculation that his preferred destination is the one spot that quietly makes the most sense: Washington, where his best friend is already waiting for him. If you've followed the off-season saga, you already know how deep the Daniels-Aiyuk connection runs. It's not subtle. Aiyuk posted screenshots of Jayden Daniels at Commanders practice. They appeared together on the pivot, laughing, talking ball, and giving fans an obvious peek into their friendship. Their social media history is practically a highlight reel of mutual support. And then there's the most viral moment of all, Aiyuk bluntly saying, "SHD. There's a quarterback right there. I'm thinking on what I can do with him," when referring to Daniels as he discussed his contract situation with San Francisco. When a player says that on camera, that's not smoke, that's fire. Now the path is finally clear. No trade compensation, no negotiation with the 49ers, no barriers between Aiyuk and the place he actually wants to be. The only real questions are health and price. His knee injury was expected to be fully healed by September, meaning by next season he'll have had more than enough time to be ready. And then there's the contract, which could become a lot more manageable considering how willing he seems to be to restructure his future round where he wants to play, not how much he wants to make. If there's anyone in the league who can help pull a friend toward a friendly discount, it's the quarterback who already shares years of history with him for Washington. The timing is ideal. Terry McLaurin may be entering his final season with the team in 2026. Depending on how the new regime evaluates him, Deebo Samuel's future in DC is still uncertain, and the offense desperately needs more dynamic talent after injuries derailed so much of this season. Signing Aiyuk wouldn't cost a draft pick, wouldn't force the team into a financial crisis, and wouldn't stop them from drafting another promising young receiver if they wanted to. In fact, pairing Aiyuk with a rookie wideout and a developing Jayden Daniels could give Washington its most explosive offensive core in years. As the weeks roll by and the 49ers drama intensifies, it's becoming increasingly obvious that the Commanders aren't just a possible landing spot. For Aiyuk, they're the favorites. They offer an opportunity to reunite with his best friend, a quarterback he trusts, respects, and openly wants to play with. They offer a chance to be part of a young, growing offense rather than a veteran-heavy team dealing with internal conflicts. And above all, they offer a clean slate at the perfect moment in his career. Jayden Daniels has been waiting for his guy, and if everything continues trending in this direction, he may be welcoming his former college teammate, longtime friend, and future go-to weapon to Washington sooner than anyone expected. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Something unusual is swirling around the Washington Commanders, and it's not just the usual chatter about injuries or tactical shifts. Rumors have been hitting the wire, and if they hold even a fragment of truth, the franchise might be looking at one of its most bizarre and tense internal crises in years. The focus of this storm is Jayden Daniels, the young quarterback who has been showing flashes of promise, yet seems to have suddenly become the epicenter of locker room tension. Sources close to the team are whispering about a shocking incident. Daniels reportedly appeared with a visible hematoma on his face, and the whispers quickly evolved into full-blown speculation when his social media activity seemed to hint at someone being responsible. The name that's been surfacing in every conversation: Terry McLaurin, the veteran wide receiver who has been a cornerstone of the team for seasons. Nobody is officially confirming the details, and the Commanders' management has been characteristically tight-lipped, which only adds fuel to the fire. The idea of a conflict between a rising quarterback and an established receiver is not unheard of in the NFL, but the visual evidence of a hematoma on Daniels' face has caused eyebrows to rise everywhere. From casual fans to insiders who usually stay behind the scenes, there's an air of disbelief, because the Commanders are not known for public scandals or internal clashes that make headlines in this way, and yet the social media universe has exploded with speculation, memes, and threads trying to decode cryptic posts from both Daniels and McLaurin, with fans and analysts alike scrambling to connect the dots. Some insiders are saying the tension between them has been simmering for months, long before anyone ever considered the physical altercation that is now being hinted at. If we look back at the team's dynamics over the past season, there were subtle signs of friction. McLaurin has always been vocal about leadership, and he has a reputation for holding younger teammates accountable in ways that not everyone appreciates. Daniels, on the other hand, is confident, outspoken, and clearly ambitious. Combine that with the pressures of a team that has struggled with consistency and leadership questions, and you have a classic recipe for tension. Those who have observed the Commanders closely say there were moments in training camp where Daniels and McLaurin were seen debating intensely over routes, targets, and even play calls. Some say it was constructive conflict, but others hint it might have been the early stages of a more personal feud. The alleged incident has reportedly caused a ripple effect in the locker room. Team morale, always a delicate balancing act, is said to have taken a hit, with players now choosing sides or, at the very least, keeping a careful distance. Coaches are believed to be scrambling behind closed doors, trying to assess the situation without letting it leak further or disrupt preparations. It's said that staff meetings have become tense, with discussions about leadership, accountability, and team culture dominating conversations. The optics, even without a full confirmation of what happened, are not great in a league where perception can shape careers and contracts as much as actual performance. Daniels showing up with a facial injury and indirectly implicating a teammate is a story that feeds itself endlessly. Fans, naturally, have jumped into overdrive. Social media platforms are flooded with speculation, varying from those who outright accuse McLAURIN of wrongdoing to others who defend him, citing his professionalism and track record. Some analysts are attempting to dissect body language and practice footage, interviews, and sideline clips, claiming to see tension in micro-expressions, gestures, or the way Daniels and McLAURIN interact during drills. Comment sections are exploding with theories, some outrageous, others surprisingly detailed, but all pointing to the same conclusion: something has gone sideways in Washington. And it's not just about wins and losses anymore. The narrative has taken on the texture of a thriller, with every small detail being magnified and interpreted in countless ways. Behind the scenes, whispers indicate that team leadership is extremely concerned about how this will affect the locker room long-term. Veteran players are reportedly being consulted, and mediators or team psychologists might be brought in to diffuse the situation. Though nothing official has been announced, the challenge for the Commanders is not only to manage the immediate fallout, but also to prevent the story from becoming a public relations nightmare for a franchise that has been trying to rebuild its identity, navigate ownership changes, and maintain fan engagement. The last thing they need is a highly publicized feud between a rising star quarterback and their most popular wide receiver. Some insiders suggest the incident could have long-term ramifications for contracts, roster decisions, and even the leadership hierarchy within the team. Daniels' rise has been meteoric, and McLAURIN has carved out a legacy as one of the team's most reliable players. A conflict between them could force management to make hard decisions about who to prioritize, whether to restructure roles, or even explore trade possibilities. The underlying tension is reportedly more than just physical. It's a clash of personalities, ambitions, and visions for the team's future. While we wait for clarity, the rumor mill has been relentless, with each new post, interview snippet, or cryptic comment reigniting speculation and intensifying the narrative. If there's one thing this story shows, it's how fragile team chemistry can be when personality conflicts intersect with professional ambition. The visual of Daniels' hematoma has become the symbol of a much larger discussion. How do teams manage rising stars and established veterans when egos, expectations, and pressure collide? For the Commanders, the next steps could define the franchise's trajectory for years to come. Analysts are already predicting that internal meetings, strategy sessions, and perhaps even leadership restructuring are imminent. Fans, meanwhile, remain glued to updates, dissecting every word, photo, and gesture for clues. The tension is palpable, the drama is undeniable, and the sense of uncertainty has never been higher. No one is claiming to have the full story, and much of this is still speculation. But the narrative has already taken on a life of its own. Whether this turns into a locker room reconciliation story, a trade rumor, or a cautionary tale about leadership and ambition, it is impossible to ignore the buzz that has enveloped the Commanders. The team's ability to navigate this delicate situation while maintaining focus on the field will be under intense scrutiny. In an era where transparency and social media amplify every minor incident into headline news, the optics alone could influence coaching decisions, team morale, and fan perception. It's a storm that seems to be gathering force, with every day bringing new developments, new analysis, and new theories about what really happened between Daniels and McLAURIN. As of now, there is no official confirmation from the players or the franchise. The alleged hematoma, the pointed social media posts, and the locker room whispers remain unverified but tantalizing. For fans, the story has all the elements of intrigue, drama, and controversy. A young quarterback rising quickly, a beloved veteran receiver, visible signs of injury, and the ever-present backdrop of team politics and ambition. The combination has created a narrative that refuses to die down, with speculation ranging from minor disagreements, blown out of proportion, to potential serious conflict. Whatever the truth, the situation has already captured the attention of the football world, making the Commanders one of the most talked about teams. Not for their gameplay, but for the intense, swirling drama behind the scenes. In the meantime, Observers continue to analyze every practice, every interview, every sideline shot, searching for hints that could clarify the story. Some claim to notice subtle gestures of reconciliation. Others insist the tension is still raw. The uncertainty only heightens the drama, leaving fans and insiders alike waiting for the next chapter in this unfolding saga. If the rumors are even partly accurate, it could mark a turning point in the careers of both Daniels and McLAURIN, as well as in the cultural and leadership dynamics of the Commanders. It's a story of ambition, conflict, perception, and the thin line between locker room friction and outright crisis. And while the league continues, games are played, and stats accumulate, this narrative seems to exist in its own orbit. A reminder that in professional sports, sometimes the off-field story can be as compelling, or even more so, than the action on the field. Whether this develops into reconciliation, trade rumors, or an ongoing feud, one thing is certain: the Commanders are under a microscope, and the football world is watching every move, waiting for clarity, and perhaps bracing for more surprises. The tale of Jayden Daniels' facial hematoma and the alleged involvement of Terry McLaurin has already become the talk of the town, and it's a story that refuses to fade quietly into the background. The question remains: how will this storm end? And what will it mean for the future of a franchise already navigating complex challenges both on and off the field? Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.